P.T. Logan's 5 Minutes of Terror. Twisted, troubling tales to send a chill up your spine.
Shoes. When are we gonna get the furnace fixed? Mary Sue asked. I hate wearing shoes in the house, even when sleeping. The floor is so darn cold. Billy put his newspaper down and looked across the table at his daughter. We don't have the money to get it fixed right now, Mary Sue. But can't you fix it, Daddy? Yeah, Daddy. You told me you could fix anything, Eli replied. They were talking about the furnace again and why they had to wear shoes all the time, which was a fun game to 6-year-old Susie Sue. Mostly because they were all distracted, all being serious, which she hated. While her family talked, Susie Sue slid lower in her chair and eventually glided all the way down under the table. No one noticed her. This was nothing unusual for Susie Sue, however, because no one ever seemed to notice her. Her family was always talking about the furnace or about money, which were pretty much the same. It was all so boring to her. Susie Sue crawled on all fours under the table until she reached her sister Mary Sue's chair. Mary Sue always wore nice white tennis shoes, so Susie Sue took her time while she untied them and then, very slowly, tied the laces from each shoe together. Mary Sue didn't even notice. For now. Smiling to herself, Susie Sue went to little Eli next. He had Velcro shoes, but that didn't matter because everyone knows that if your feet are close enough together like little Eli's, you could easily just strap them together. This took patience, however, because of the noise that the Velcro made. But Susie Sue succeeded without being noticed and then went to her dad. Billy wore black work boots, which had nice long laces, making them the easiest of her family to tie together. Susie Sue tied her dad's boots in double knots. She had to stifle a giggle by putting a hand in front of her face as she crawled back to her chair and quietly got back into it. It was as if nothing happened. Wearing my shoes at night is the worst, Mary Sue said. My feet get so hot, but if I have to get up to pee, the floors are like ice. I know. I'll try my best to fix it, but I'm not great with the furnace. Now, please take your plates out. And this was the fun part. Susie Sue leaned back and watched as her sister got up first. Mary Sue rose, stumbled, and then fell. What's wrong? Daddy asked. He too stood, took 2 steps toward Mary Sue, and then went down. His plate hit the floor and smashed in a million pieces. Daddy! Eli was next, and while he didn't fall nearly as hard as the others, he fell hard enough that Susie Sue could hear him over the sound of her own laughter. Susie Sue, go to your room! Her dad shouted. Susie Sue laughed all the way to her room. She didn't even hear her dad slam the door behind her. Much later, her father appeared in the hallway, and all 3 kids peered out of their rooms. Mary Sue had a bump on her head, and Eli had a bruise on his knee. No more worse for wear, all things considered. Their dad had dirt and soot all over his face. I tried to fix the furnace, but I'm not sure I did a good job, Billy said, wiping his hands on a towel. I see a flame in there, but it won't ignite. Does this mean we have to sleep with our shoes on again? Mary Sue asked. I'm afraid so, but hopefully only for tonight. I'll have someone come to look at the furnace tomorrow. That night, when they all went to bed, Mary Sue couldn't sleep. Her head hurt, she was freezing, and she was annoyed with her little sister. So she came up with a plan. After brushing her teeth and waiting 20 minutes, she headed into Susie Sue's room. Her sister was sleeping peacefully on her side, her blanket tucked under her chin. The blanket, however, was too short and didn't cover the lower half of her legs. Mary Sue was smiling when she saw Susie Sue's gray running shoes hanging off the edge of the bed. Moving as quietly as possible, Mary Sue untied one of her sister's shoes and then the other, and then she tied them together. Not a single knot, not a double knot, but a triple knot. That'll teach her, Mary Sue thought as she headed back to bed. In the middle of the night, Mary Sue awoke. There was sweat on her forehead, on her back, and on her arms. She had never been so warm in her life, especially not with a broken furnace in the middle of winter. Her first thought was maybe her dad had fixed the furnace after all, but that was before she saw the fire and the smoke coming in through the bottom of her door. And then she heard her father start to shout, Fire! Fire! Everyone out! Mary Sue was still half asleep when she grabbed Eli and followed her father out of the house and into the cold winter night. The 3 of them stood on the sidewalk, watching as the fire that originated in the furnace engulfed their entire house. It wasn't until much later that one of them realized that Susie Sue wasn't beside them.
P.T. Logan's 5 Minutes of Terror. Twisted, troubling tales to send a chill up your spine.